deep dive. Today, we're tackling something really fundamental, actually. Meaningful English conversation. It's about, nailing that presentation, connecting with colleagues maybe, or just making everyday chats better.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got this great source, English Conversation Strategies, and our goal really is to give you, the listener, some practical tools.
Tools to go beyond just speaking English, right? It's about actually connecting, leaving an impression.
Exactly. Think about those conversations. You know, the ones where you walk away feeling really energized?
Oh, yeah. Or understood.
Right. Versus those that just feel flat.
So what is the difference?
Yeah.
Often it's about the strategies you use, consciously or not.
And we're not just talking grammar today, are we?
No, this is deeper. It's the art, really, of creating that human connection through language.
Okay, so how do we get past the small talk? Our source lays out a kind of roadmap. It starts with the launch, those first few words. Then building real connection.
Not just swapping information.
Exactly. And vocabulary not just sounding smart, but like expressing yourself clearly.
Applying the right word.
Yeah. And then there's navigating the tricky bits.
Disagreements, awkward pauses.
And finally, how to wrap it all up well. How to end on a high note.
And the great thing is, the source makes it clear these aren't like magical talents you're born with.
Right. They're skills.
Skills you can learn, you can practice. It sort of demystifies the whole thing. Anyone can get better at this with a bit of effort.
Okay, let's get right into those opening moves then. Conversation starters.
Launch. Yeah.
The source says that first line can really set the tone for everything. It mentions using hooks. I like that.
It's a good image, isn't it? Because those default greetings, how are you, they don't really hook anyone.
No, you just get, fine, thanks, end of story.
Exactly. It's like a little ping pong volley, not an invitation. What the source highlights is opening with something that, well, asks for a bit more.
Like open-ended questions.
Perfect example. They need more than just a yes or no. They nudge the other person to share something real.
Yeah, the source had a good one. Instead of, good weekend, try, what was one interesting thing you did this weekend?
But see? That immediately invites a story, a detail. You're handing them a little stage.
Yeah, I like that. And then genuine compliments. We've all had those kind of throwaway ones.
Oh, yeah. Nice shoes.
Right. But the source says specific and sincere. That's the key.
Absolutely. Not just nice jacket, but wow, that blue really suits you. Where'd you find that? It shows you've actually looked. You've noticed.
It feels more personal.
Way more personal. And the shared observation thing, that's gold.
Just commenting on what's around you.
Yeah. This coffee is actually really good, isn't it? Or, wow, this room has a great view. Simple stuff.
Creates an instant, we're in this together kind of feeling.
Exactly. An immediate shared starting point. No pressure.
Okay, so you've avoided the awkward silence. How do you keep it going and make it, meaningful?
Right. This is where building common ground and, crucially, active listening come in.
Finding shared interests, yeah. But the listening part. The source really digs into that.
And it's not just about being quiet, is it? It's active. It's dynamic.
What does that look like, practically?
Well, the source mentions things like asking follow-up questions.
Yeah.
Simple, but powerful.
Shows you're actually interested.
Totally. It says, I want to hear more, not just waiting for your turn.
Even just, oh, really? Tell me more about that.
Exactly. And summarizing, that's another technique.
So like repeating back what they said?
Sort of, but concisely. Okay, so if I'm getting this right, you felt frustrated because it confirms your tracking.
And makes them feel heard, validated.
Big time. And then reflecting on shared experiences.
Oh, like, something similar happened to me.
Yeah, but carefully, right? Not to steal the spotlight.
Right, not to make it about you.
No, just to show empathy. I get that. I went through something a bit like that once. Creates that sense of connection, camaraderie.
It all comes down to showing genuine interest, doesn't it?
That's the core of it. Active listening fuels a positive loop in the conversation.
Okay, now, to really participate fully, you need the words vocabulary.
Yes. The toolkit.
The source talks about this not as showing off, but just having the right tool for the job, expressing yourself precisely.
Exactly. A wider vocabulary lets you, well, paint a clearer picture and understand the subtleties in what others are saying, too.
So how do you build it? The source has some classic suggestions.
Yeah, the tried and true methods. Reading, seeing words in their natural habitat.
Context is everything.
Listening, hearing how people actually use the words. And yeah, flashcards can help too for pure memorization.
But it's not just about knowing the words, is it? It's about using them.
Oh, absolutely. The source really stresses this. You've got to actively try to use new words in your conversations.
Take them out for a spin.
Right. That's how they stick.
Huh.
That's how you build fluency and confidence. You feel good when you use a new phrase and it lands well.
It's like practicing scales on a piano. You have to do it.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Reading the sheet music isn't enough. You got to play.
Okay, but conversations aren't always smooth sailing. What about disagreements? Or just awkward moments?
Yeah, the bumpy bits. The source gives some really solid advice here.
What's the main takeaway?
Empathy and respect. Always. Even if you totally disagree.
Trying to see their side of it.
Yeah, or at least acknowledging their feelings about it. Valuing that they have a different viewpoint, even if you think it's wrong. It keeps the door open.
And communicating carefully.
Especially then.
Yeah.
Choosing your words. Being considerate.
The source even gives some phrases, right? Like lifelines.
Yeah, handy things to have in your back pocket. Instead of just blurting out, "You're wrong."
Which usually doesn't go well.
Rarely. Try something like, "Okay, I see your point, but I guess I see it a bit differently."
Softer. Less confrontational.
Exactly. Or acknowledging their view. That's an interesting take. I hadn't actually thought about it that way.
Buys you time, too.
It does. And finding common ground, even in disagreement. Focusing on a shared goal, maybe.
Like, okay, we disagree on the how, but I think we both want the same outcome here, right?
Yes, perfect. It diffuses tension. It keeps the conversation constructive rather than a battle to win.
Okay, almost there. The ending. How you wrap things up matters, too.
It really does. It's your last chance to leave that positive feeling.
What does the source suggest?
Summarizing key points is a good one.
Yeah.
Briefly. Shows you're paying attention, reinforces what was discussed.
Like a mini recap?
Yeah. And expressing gratitude. Sounds simple, but a sincere thanks, I really enjoyed talking with you, goes a long way.
Makes the other person feel appreciated.
Definitely. And sometimes a call to action makes sense.
Like, let's follow up next week, or I'll send you that link.
Exactly. Keeps the connection alive. Which leads to the other point, nurturing the connection afterwards.
Staying in touch?
Yeah, or following up on something you talked about. If you discussed a book and you see an article about the author, maybe send it over.
Small things. Thoughtful things.
They add up.
Sure.
They show you value the chat and the person.
So, wrapping up our deep dive into these strategies, the big takeaway.
I think it's that having meaningful English conversations is, well, it's a skill. It's not just about knowing the language.
It's about using these techniques intentionally.
Right. To actually connect. Listening actively, starting strong, handling disagreements gracefully, ending well.
Expanding your vocabulary to express yourself better.
All of it. These are learnable skills. You can practice them.
And the point is to transform those interactions, right? From maybe hesitant or just surface level.
Into chances to really express yourself, build genuine relationships, and, leave people feeling good about the conversation.
Okay, so here's a final thought for you, our listener. Think about a conversation you had recently in English. What's just one strategy, just one thing we talked about today that you could consciously try next time? Just one thing to make it maybe a bit more engaging, a bit more meaningful for both of you.